How's it going?
Fire away.
All right. New offensive line. You got a new guy up there. You got a couple of guys injured. You've had some rotation. What do you do to maybe make it easier on that unit this week and going forward?
I don't know that you have to do too much differently. I think we have a lot of experience up front. I think Josh Lariva, Spencer Long are really smart guys and have played a lot of football, so I trust them. And we'll just go on business as usual and just keep working. And that's kind of part of playing this league and going through a long 16-game season.
When you went back and looked at the film, how did you evaluate your own performance against the Giants?
I felt like we did a lot of good things. I felt like we moved the football. Was disappointed with, I would call it situational management. The second interception is 1st and 10. Just throw the ball out of bounds. You don't have to try to put it on Derek there in that moment. Play for the next play kind of thing. To throw the ball 49 times, I felt like we did a lot of good things. Only took 1 sack. We moved it up and down the field. If we didn't fumble on the goal line there, we'd come away with more points. So there were a lot of positives to build on, and that's what I like to focus on. But certainly there were, 2 or 3 plays that really can change the course of the entire game. Then those are the ones we have to go look back and correct and make sure don't repeat themselves.
Kirk, with the – I'm sorry, go ahead.
Were 2 of those plays maybe in the second quarter? You looked like you had Jordan Reed open in the end zone, once to the left, once to the right. Can you tell me what happened on those throws?
Yeah, I thought the first one, Jordan beat him so much that a part of me said, don't overthrow him. Just give him a chance. When you win that much at the line of scrimmage, you start to try to aim it and try to give him a chance to just make sure it's not overthrown. And as a result, sure enough, when you start aiming it and not throwing it, it gets underthrown, and the guy was able to recover. So that one was one we felt like we left on the table. And then the other one to Jordan was a tough deal where the protection, the safety blitz got on me quickly and wasn't able to set my feet and let it go. And that was another one where he felt like Jordan had beat his guy, and if the ball had been able to be thrown further out, potentially could have been a touchdown as well. And that's where you walk away and say, we have the talent to make the plays. The plays are there to be made. We just got to make them. And we've got to play through these things and work through them, and hopefully, like I said, not repeat the same things over and over.
On that first interception, Prince played that pretty well, and the Giants played a little bit differently than with the blitz and all that. When you're trying to throw with anticipation on that throw, is there anything that you can do differently on that play, or do you just have to let it go, or is there any way that you can learn from that one to maybe so that doesn't happen again?
Yeah, I think anytime you throw an interception, you're always going to say, what can I do differently so it doesn't happen again? So I don't want to sound like I'm shrugging my shoulders and not taking it seriously. On the other hand, if I don't trust those throws and let them go at times, I'll probably never be able to make consistent completions in this league. So there's a balance there of I've got to trust what I see. I've got to let the ball go. I've got to throw with confidence. I can't get gun shy. The other side of it is, in that specific play, looking at it and being hard on myself, saying, hey, is there a way maybe I could take a hitch and let it declare? Is there a way that I could, progress? And so I try to look at it both ways, and there are going to be plays where the guy makes a good play, and I think that's certainly an example of the other guy made a really nice play.
Do you have any different sense or more of a sense of stability or security as this team's starting quarterback than maybe when you had other chances to start in the past?
Yeah, I think it's something we've talked about through training camp, and when Jay made the announcement several weeks ago, I think it's just a good thing to be believed in, a good thing to have that support, and it's always been my focus to just try to make good on it and take advantage of what is a great opportunity.
Building on that, Kirk, what lessons do you take from last year in terms of when you have a disappointing game, a game you're not happy with completely, of putting it aside when you have a new week, a new scheme on the opposite side, and all that, being able to put it behind you?
Yeah, I think I've been much better and feel much better about that this year. Feel more confident, and that experience is so valuable. That's the great thing about the NFL is that you're going to have setbacks, but when you do, the next Sunday's coming soon. And, we're excited about the opportunity to go out and, put a much better product on the field this Sunday.
What is your overriding memory of last season's, that meeting at the Eagles early on? It was exceedingly high scoring and settled only at the end. And then would you point to a way or two in which you feel you're a better, wiser, or
Sure.
more comfortable quarterback?
Great question. I watched that game film this week, and really it was, I guess, a pleasant surprise to see how far I've come since that game, because it was a productive game offensively, but boy, we left a lot of plays out there. And I thought my footwork was pretty inconsistent. I thought some of my decision-making or my just my overall procedure of playing the quarterback position was inconsistent at times. So I came away from watching that film saying, wow, it's encouraging to see how far I've improved. And it takes going back and watching that game to really be able to see that. But there were a lot of good things in that game. I remember it being a competitive game, a battle down to the finish, and one that when you get in those situations going forward, you want to be on the other end and be able to make those plays at the end that can get you the win.
Hey, Kirk, there's going to be some wet weather expected this weekend. How do you throw a wet football? Is there any big difference, and have you done that in the past, I'm sure, and have you responded?
Yeah, I have done in the past. It's rain affects it, wind affects it, how much we get of each of those. When they start to combine and be a lot of both, it can be really difficult, and then temperature also starts to change things. But I've always been able to throw a wet ball pretty consistently. I don't feel like it takes me off my game too much. That being said, it is a wrinkle and a challenge, and more than anything, throwing is probably a little easier than just the center quarterback exchange, just getting that snap, because it comes up quickly, and if you don't get a clean grip, it can slip right through your hands. So center quarterback exchange is probably just as big of an emphasis as the actual throwing and catching.
Kirk,
sorry.
and looking back at the film now with a little time to digest it, do you feel in the second half, specifically in the fourth quarter, that you guys played with enough urgency, not only in your tempo and getting to the line, but also in pushing the ball down the field, considering the deficit that you had?
Yeah, I think you got to take what the defense gives you. And, if we had tried to, you're going to always look back and say, could you have done this or that? Well, if we push it down the field, who knows whether there would have been more turnovers or more incompletions or more inability to move the football. I mean, we went down the field. It's just that, we didn't finish the drives at the end. So, I think we did good things moving the football in the second half of that game. And if we protect the football better, I think it'll show on the scoreboard.
Kirk, because you guys weren't able to run as effectively last Thursday night for whatever the reason as you were the first 2 weeks, did you find yourself, I guess, mentally putting a little more pressure on yourself, maybe just not being as relaxed, maybe thinking you had to do a little bit more in certain spots last Thursday?
I don't think so. I think, just there were a couple throws that you want to have back, and whether you throw it 49 times or throw it, 14 times, you're going to have a couple throws that you wish you could do over. So I don't think it was anything to relate to pressure or a lack of running the ball, and it's just I got to settle in and just throw the football.
Kirk, as you game plan for this Sunday, what are you expecting to see out of this Eagles defense?
Well, I have a lot of respect for what they do, for the talent they have, for how active they are. They got a lot of players who are not just good athletes, but smart players and experienced players. So I have a lot of respect for what they do, and it'll be a great challenge.
Do you do anything in practice to prepare for throwing a wet ball, or do you feel that you just have enough experience now that it's okay, or do you do the old dump it in the bucket and throw it a little bit?
Yeah, if it's going to stay dry out here the next couple of days, then really the best strategy is to literally dump it in a bucket. It's kind of overkill, but that's probably your best option. And if nothing else, to just get center quarterback exchanges with Corey after dunking it in a bucket, if nothing else, and potentially even filter some of those footballs into a period here and there to get that practice.
Would you just do that, wait till Friday to get a better forecast, or do you do that today, tomorrow?
I hadn't, until today, this is the first I've heard of how serious it might be. I just kind of checked my phone, and you can never really tell this far out, but with the reports that I've gotten from coaches and now what we're talking about, probably tomorrow would be good to do it as well. Thank you.